Let's talk about artificial intelligence. It's one of those technologies that promises to completely reshape our world, but it also holds up a mirror to our own flaws. So in this explainer, we're going to explore both sides of the coin, the incredible promise and the very real peril of AI.
To really get a handle on the promise of AI, let's just start with one massive number, 40%. That's the productivity boost that industry analysts are forecasting AI could bring to logistics by 2035. I mean, that's an absolutely astonishing figure, and it shows you just how powerful this tech can be at solving really complex, real-world problems. But here's the flip side. This is the crucial question that really sets up the other half of our story. What happens when this incredibly powerful, efficient tool starts learning our worst habits, when it picks up on our hidden biases? Well, that's where we find the peril.
Okay, so first up, let's dive into the good stuff, the upside. How exactly is AI delivering on this incredible productivity promise? Let's take a look at how it's revolutionizing some pretty complex industries as we speak.
Think about a super complicated industry like logistics. The challenges are just constant, right? You've got inefficient routes wasting fuel, equipment that breaks down unexpectedly, shipments getting delayed. What AI does is completely change the game from being reactive to being proactive. Instead of just dealing with problems as they pop up, it starts anticipating them. Dynamic routing can adjust for traffic in real time. Predictive maintenance can fix a truck before it breaks down on the highway. This is really the core of AI's promise, solving problems before they even become problems.
So what's the magic behind this? Well, at the heart of a lot of these systems is a concept called a rational agent. Now, it sounds really complex, but the idea is actually pretty simple. It's just an entity, a piece of software, that looks at its environment and takes whatever action will get it the best possible outcome. Think of it as the core logic that's always pushing the machine to be as efficient as it can possibly be. Okay, so how does this idea of a rational agent actually play out in the real world? Let's look at a few examples that show just how widespread AI has become. We're talking everything from global shipping networks all the way down to your local drive-thru.
So, take UPS. They're not just scanning barcodes anymore. They are literally building a digital twin, a complete virtual copy of their entire distribution network. This lets them see everything, everywhere, all at once, optimizing their whole operation on a scale that was just impossible before. And this isn't just happening in these massive behind-the-scenes operations either. Wendy's is now using AI to take drive-through orders. The whole idea is to make the experience smoother and more consistent for you, which then frees up the human workers to focus on making the food and getting it to you faster. And speaking of that digital twin idea, BMW is taking it to a whole other level. They use AI to scan their physical factories and parts, creating these incredibly detailed 3D models. Then they can run thousands of virtual simulations to figure out the absolute most efficient way to run their supply chain, all without moving a single real-world part. Over in the world of retail, Zara is using AI to get way smarter about what it puts on its shelves. It analyzes all of its past sales data to predict what you're going to want to buy next. And that means the right clothes are in the right stores at the right time, and a whole lot less unsold stuff ends up in a landfill. Okay, so we've seen the promise. AI is making things faster, smarter, more efficient. It's amazing. But now we have to make that turn. Because when an AI learns from our world, it doesn't just learn our strengths. It learns our flaws, too. Welcome to the bias in the code. So let's be clear on what we're talking about here. Algorithmic bias is what happens when an AI system starts spitting out results that reinforce the existing biases found in the data it was trained on, or even the biases of the folks who designed it. It's not that the AI is malicious or evil, it's just that it's learning from a flawed, biased world.
Check out this example. It's pretty wild. Researchers tested an AI on a hypothetical cooking competition. The AI actually favored the female contestant, but not because of her skills. No, it was because of this old sexist stereotype that her years of homemaking gave her some kind of magical, intuitive talent. It's a perfect example of a really subtle, almost polite kind of bias, but it is absolutely bias.
And this isn't just a one-off problem, Bias can sneak in from all over the place. It can come from historical data that's full of past prejudices, or from training data that just doesn't represent everybody in the real world. But what's really scary is something called amplification bias. That's where the AI doesn't just mirror our flaws, it can actually make them even worse.
And this isn't just theoretical stuff. These biases have real damaging consequences. Amazon had to scrap an AI recruiting tool because it taught itself to be biased against women, simply because it was trained on a decade of resumes that were mostly from men. Ask an image generator for a picture of a CEO, and you'll almost always get back a picture of a white guy. Even voice recognition software often fails people with speech impairments, basically embedding a form of ableism right into the code. Now, I know this all sounds pretty bleak, but the story isn't over. The people building these AI systems know this is a huge problem, and they're actively working on solutions. So let's talk about the strategies for forging a fairer, more responsible future for AI. So what's the game plan? How do we start to fix this? Well, it begins with having a clear strategy. Companies need to actively plan to fight bias. That means getting much better about how they collect data, making sure it represents everyone. It means diversifying their own teams, because people from different backgrounds will spot different problems. And, maybe most importantly, it means knowing when to step in and have a human make the final call. One of the most promising techniques out there is called reinforcement learning from human feedback, or RLHF. This is where humans actively train the AI, not just by dumping data into it, but by rating its responses. We teach it subjective things, like what's fair, what's an appropriate tone, what's actually helpful. It's kind of like a finishing school for AI. But of course, that just raises another huge question. Whose feedback are we using to teach it? And that really gets to the heart of it. This isn't just a technical problem that a bunch of coders can solve on their own. Building ethical AI is going to take a team effort. You need ethicists who understand the societal impact, you need diverse teams who bring all their different life experiences to the table, and you absolutely need independent auditors who can provide some much-needed oversight. So in the end, maybe the best way to think about AI is just as a mirror. It simply reflects the data we give it, it reflects the world it learns from, and it reflects the values of the people who create it. It can show us our incredible ingenuity and our drive for efficiency, but it also shows us our deepest biases and our biggest blind spots. So the real question isn't just about what AI is going to become, it's about what kind of world we're going to choose to show it.